2 years ago, that was in my 200 level, I was staying afloat. I was afloat in my academics, and it was really disturbing because I was giving in my best. I was studying. There was no time for fun. I was studying for 8 hours daily. But when I saw my results, I was ashamed of my performance because the results didn't reflect my performance, and I started blaming people. I started blaming my environment. I started blaming my surrounding until one day I sat down during my quiet period and I said, no, bro, I cannot continue this way. There must be a change in my academics, because there must be a change in my grades, and there must be an overall change in my life. And this is where I took a major decision, which I'm going to share with you. And this decision helped change my grade from C to becoming an A student. And if you are coming across my YouTube channel and you wish to change your grade, you wish to stop being an average student in your class, then this video is perfectly for you. My name is Basi Ejoba. I'm a 400 level student at the University of Calabar studying medical laboratory science, and in my channel I help students level up the academic game. I also share full tips on the channel focusing on personal development. So if you love content like this, please don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button so I can continue getting updates anytime I drop videos like this, and so that you can help me grow. And just like I've said today, I'm going to share with you how I was able to turn myself from just being an average student in the class to becoming an excellent student. And this is my academic comeback journey, and this is me now sharing it with you people. That is to tell you that I have actually changed, and I have sincerely changed. Even in my class, I am among the top students in my class right now. I am the one teaching my classmates, but this was someone who was actually struggling before. Now what happened was that in my 200 level, 200 level in medical college first semester was something that was a lot of fear. It brought a lot of fear because we are afraid of what we are about to meet in medical college, and that made me to continuously reading. I was studying, but I was actually studying with no direction. I was studying because I didn't want to fail. I was not studying with systems, right? But until I saw my 200 level first semester result, and it came out very bad. And my second semester, in the course of my reading and preparing for exams, like during the semester, I had to tell myself, no, this thing cannot continue. I cannot wait for hours depriving myself of pleasure and get to find out that my result is bad. And this was my turning point. This was sincerely my breaking point. And now, what did I do differently? The first thing I did was that I switched from passive learning to active learning. Now the thing is that they will not teach you this in school. Yes, they don't teach you this. In fact, the school does not teach you how to learn. You understand? The school does not teach you how to learn. I don't know how to put it that you actually understand what I am saying. But I had to switch from passive learning. Passive learning is the one that we only go to school, lecturer teaches us, or the lecturer or the teacher teaches us in class, and we copy notes and we come back to the house and read and close our book and we are off, right? That is what it is as a passive learning. You are passively reading, you are passively studying, right? But until I switch to the active learning, and from the active learning I was able to get a lot of study tips. Number one, which was the active recall. Now the active recall is one that the moment you finish studying, instead of just closing that book and say, okay, I am done for that day, like I used to do before. The other time I can read like for 6 hours and I would just close the book and say, okay, I am done for the day. What I started doing was that the moment I finished studying, I close the book and see how I can quiz myself on what I have read. Yes, I try to ask myself questions on what I have read. Okay, the definition, the the important concept, and how I can be able to summarize that same stuff I have read in my own words or in my own understanding. So this stuff really helped me, because I noticed that other time when I was reading without involving the active recall, was that the information, the moment I finished reading, that information would just wipe out. You understand? But now that information started being transferred from the short-term memory to the long-term memory, and that was the active recall. I so started doing the Pomodoro technique. Like I said, I used to study for a stretch without play, without fun, without relaxation, without a break, right? But this point in time, I started having breaks in my study time. You understand? And that was what was known as the Pomodoro technique. So the Pomodoro technique is simply studying in short focus section or in short focus blocks, right? That means if I were to study for like 1 hour, for an example, what I would simply do was to study for 25 minutes, have a 5-minute break, come back to it for 25 minutes, or sometimes I can study for 15 minutes at a stretch and decide to have a 10-minute break. Now you should note that this 10-minute break or a 5-minute break is not for you to go and play around. It's just for you to regain yourself. If it's pure water you want to go and buy, if it's water you want to drink, or if it's something that will energize you, or something that will give you the ginger to continue reading. Not that you use that 5 minutes and start scrolling on social media. Pure, the thing is that when you are scrolling on social media for that 5 minutes, before you get to find out, that 5 minutes will turn to 10 minutes. That 10 minutes will turn to an hour. You understand? So the thing is, you have to be very smart when you are doing the Pomodoro technique. And also the Freeman's technique. that I always do. The famous technique is one that the moment you finish reading, you try to teach someone else what you know. You understand? It can be a brother, it can be a sister, it can be anybody, and sometimes it can even be an imaginary audience. So let's assume you finish reading a particular topic in chemistry or biology or any subject of your choice, right? You can just decide to start teaching the board. Just start teaching, just start teaching. Now the trick there is that you learn better when you teach someone else what you know. And that is how you learn better. So I started doing all these stuff, and I got to find out that it was really helpful to me, right? Because the result is something that is very eminent, right? So it became really helpful to me. And also the second thing I did was that I created a realistic study schedule, a realistic study timetable. Now at this point in time was that I was not just studying for 8 hours like I used to do before, 6 hours like I used to do before, but this particular point in time I was now studying for 2 hours, and these 2 hours I was studying was it was just short. No, 2 hours is short, but it was a focus section that there was no form of me playing, there was no form of me like misusing it, right? I was just focused for that 2 hours, and the result was so amazing, right? The result became so amazing. I studied for 2 hours, or sometimes more than 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, but it wasn't just the hours, but it was the ability for me to focus and study, and not just doing it today without doing it tomorrow, do next tomorrow without doing it the next day. I became so consistent on it that it became part of my life, right? I was so consistent in it, and it really helped me, because when I was doing it, I started involving what was known as the space repetition. So the space repetition is studying more in short time. That means what I did was, if I want to study a particular topic in a course, let's say I want to study biology, let me use that one, and I want to study a topic like photosynthesis in biology, what I do is I study that photosynthesis in biology on Monday, for example. Then I space out my Tuesday. Then on Wednesday I go back to study that biology. But as I'm studying biology, I'm not just going to study a new topic first. What I do is I go back to that photosynthesis, and I'm going back to that photosynthesis is that I try to review what I have learned on Monday in that photosynthesis. I try to review, I try to say I can quiz myself on it. Then I see space. After reading it, I can go back to a new topic. Then on Friday I go back to that photosynthesis. But this point in time is that, and I'm not just going back to photosynthesis, I'm going back to see how I can answer questions that are related to photosynthesis, to really test myself whether I understood what I have read. And number 4 thing I did was that I was able to time myself. I was able to manage my time effectively. I was also able to train up my energy. That means I was able to block out time for the most important things I'm supposed to do. You understand? I can say, okay, 8 to this time is for my study and stuff like that. I was able to manage my time effectively, cut off every form of distraction, cut off every form of scrolling on social media without purpose, right? I was able to be very productive. I had to become very productive. I cut off every form of distraction, anything that I knew that is going to be distraction, play and stuff like that. I just had to cut it off in order for me to focus, right? And lastly, what I did is, and what I am still doing right now, is that I had to rewire my mindset, right? I started calling myself a first class matcher, even when I knew that my CGP was not up to a first class level. That was what I just started looking at those courses that were difficult, not as difficult courses again. I was just like, I removed that term difficult courses, right? I had to make sure that I give myself this mentality that no course is actually difficult, but if I spend time to study it, I will surely understand it. You understand? So I had to start giving myself this mindset shift. And I want to let you know that if you are feeling average right now, you understand, I want to let you know that that average is not the definition of who you are. You can see change from being an average to becoming an excellent student, to becoming the top student, to becoming an A student in your class. I have done it and it has worked for me, and even you too. If you follow all these tips that I have listed out in this video and put them into practice, cutting off time, cutting off distractions, setting up your study timetable to be very realistic, using the study techniques that I've mentioned in this video, and also rewiring your mindset, I'll assure you that you will achieve being that excellent student you have always dreamed about. Drop it in the comment section which of these tips you are going to try right away. Is it your time management? Is it to rewire your mindset? Or is it just study techniques? Drop it in the comment section, and if there's any help you need, then I will come into play. If you love this video and you wish to continue getting videos like this, please don't forget to hit on the red subscribe button, and also share this video to your friends so they can come here and get value. And in turn, I'll feel motivated to continue dropping videos like this. Let's see my next video. Always remember that you're wonderful, always remember that you're unique, and always remember that you're I really love you. Thank you.